So we've opened up an Aladdin's cave of quality electrical tools, and we're going to look at the 31-piece Slim Vario set from Wiha.
I absolutely love a pouch.
Oh, I know you love a pouch, Gary. You keep telling us that, but I think Mrs. R would refer to this more as a clutch bag. Just lift your arm up. Oh, look at that, slots in there. Gary is now modelling the latest in screwdriver technology.
So I could be waltzing through an airport, maybe going poolside with a few creams in there to keep me moist throughout the day.
Yeah, so there we go. I mean, this is a great set. It takes the pouches you're so fond of, Gary, to another level.
Well, the only way to see that is to open it. Let me bring in hand cam. I'm drooling before we start.
Just unzip there and just tease you a little bit longer, Gary. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
And there we have it. So a vast array of Slim Vario bits. If people aren't familiar with the Slim Vario range from Wiha, they're all insulated to 1000 volts, VDE approved, and the whole system is interchangeable. But in this pouch, we go a little bit further. We've added in these nut runner accessories as well.
I think I'm in love. That is fantastic. I think the only way to do now is actually cut to us using them.
So here's a common application for a nut runner. We're going to tighten this terminal that has a crimped lug on it. So we're going to take the standard handle, add the extension piece, and our 1/4 inch adapter so we can put our nut runner on there, so then we can tighten up that crimped terminal. At the other end of the scale, delicate electronic equipment, very small screws.
Yeah, and it's so easy to interchange these bits. So we're in at the moment with a Phillips head. Need to pop that one out, obviously, to go to a slotted when we get inside. And that's what's so brilliant, isn't it? It's just the one screwdriver, swap the bit out, and there we go. So we've changed over to a different version on the Pico.
Yeah, and we've reviewed the Pico. If you haven't seen it on the channel, you can obviously buy a dedicated Pico set if you're doing a lot of small electronic work, but it's the flexibility of this system that we really love.
So dive back into the pouch. This time I'm in with a stubby, and we've all been faced with this, haven't we? Someone's put an electrical accessory in a very confined space. It might be in a kitchen. Obviously we've got a light switch here that's been blocked off that we may be taking out, replacing or removing, and that stubby screwdriver comes in so handy. And the variance of the actual bits that you could change it to. Obviously we're in a flat head at the minute.
Yeah, so again, yeah, very handy bit of kit.
And then we can take that one off.
So again, back to the other hex bit. So we've started seeing these in certain EV chargers. So this is an easy EV charger that we've featured before, and that needs the hex bit to do up the main terminals.
And of course, if we were doing them up, we'd have to do them to the required torque setting. In this case, we're taking this one out. The cable's being removed from this easy EV charging unit, so that hex bit comes in handy for that. Obviously, then we can just remove the cable. Into our consumer unit, so we're looking at now slotted Pozis, sometimes called plus-minus heads, but slotted Pozi 1 now as we into our surge protection device in order to disconnect a conductor.
So we see a range of different size terminals in a lot of consumer units. A lot of people try to standardise on one size screws, but with devices getting smaller, arc fault detection and surge becoming more common, you do find you need a few different screwdriver types.
So we started with the nut runner, we might as well finish with it. Another little application here as we're trying to get a metal clad socket bolted to a metal surface.
I think we've just shown there the flexibility of the system, and yeah, you're still lost for words, but let's take a little closer look at how you build them up.
Okay.
So again, I'll take that standard handle that we saw at the start of there. So here's the standard handle. Again, just select one of your bits, there's a lot of them. So interestingly, you'll notice on the Wiha Slim Vario bit, it also gives you obviously the size of the bit itself, but the maximum torque you can use it to as well, which is handy. Take the handle, again, just clips straight in.
Yeah, there's something quite beautiful about they go in, isn't there? But you could extend it, can you? So you've got the extending arm, so you can make it feel like more of a normal length screwdriver.
So take that out, bring in our extension piece. So again, that just clips into place, and then select a different screwdriver. So we'll go for a larger flathead. You'll see higher torque rating on there, 5.5 Newton meters. And then we're ready to use that as a sort of conventional screwdriver that we're used to. You also showed us that stubby, Gary, for when someone's caused you a challenging situation. So again, same thing, just clip the bit straight in.
I love the fact you've got all the variety of heads that you can put in it, so it's not just that one screwdriver. So we've often bought a stubby screwdriver with a flat head or a Pozi head in it, but we've actually got every choice of these slimline bits in order to put them in.
Yeah, and some of these, you know, when you start looking at things like torx and hex heads, they're not often available with insulated versions as a sort of standalone bit. It just allows you to cope with all those situations. I mean, I'd say this is brilliant for anyone who works in possibly a maintenance or a service environment, or, you know, perhaps you're doing EICRs on a wide variety of equipment. And again, it follows on with the Pico head that we have looked at on the channel before. We've looked at this as a standalone screwdriver range itself, but having that in here means you can just get those delicate tips. So here's a 0.4 by 2mm flathead. Again, torque setting on there for the maximum torque you can use it to. Again, just clips straight in.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a wonderful experience that was, watching that. Thank you very much. It is just great. It looks great. It is great. And you can therefore take your torque screwdriver, can you, that you've already got. You can drop it out along with your adjusting bar and pop it straight into the set. So there we go.
Yeah, so that means I can have this pouch now.
This one's now mine. Yep, that's good. And you can have this one and this one, as I've just leveled up my pouch into what you call a clutch bag.
That's the thing with Wiha, they seduce you in. Once you've latched into the Slim Vario range, obviously you can keep expanding it and adding to it. And this is a great, whether you call it a starter set or an advanced user set, but if you're new to it, that is a great place to start. And you can even marry it up with one of my favourites. It's the Speede 2. So again, I can just take that, give us an extension bit as well.
Okay, I'll give you the extension bit as well.
Yeah, clip that into there. Tell you what, no, I'll have a nut runner actually.
Okay,
I'm going to swap you for that. I'm going to trade you.
I've got 13 mil.
13 mil. So there we go. I can now do some Speede nut running.
It's great how they all interconnect, isn't it?
It is. Now, there's one thing you may not want to do, because sometimes someone gets a little impatient if you can't find the correct tools, so we may just try and cut corners. And
who is this person? Let's name them. Come on, let's pull them out.
Well,
who are they?
Just putting
that one back in my set.
It was you, Gary.
Was it?
Just bring the camera in. So don't. People say these are obviously only compatible with the Wiha range. You wouldn't want to put it straight directly into the chuck of our drill, would you, Gary?
Probably not, no. That's one of yours as well. That was a shame, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I worked out what you can't do with them. So that's a good thing. So I'm just going to put these back. I've just got to make sure I get all my bits. So that's yours. Okay.
Yeah. He's off. He's off modelling already. He'll be heading down the high street with his screwdriver set, and I'll pick over the bones of the pouches that he's left me. But yeah, a fantastic range. I say variety. Yeah, for me, I'd say that's one of the best Wiha ranges we've actually looked at.
Yeah, and we're always interested in your comments. You know, it's beautiful. It's got 31 pieces in it. I've fallen in love with it, but it's your opinion that counts. Leave those comments below. Have you got one of these yourself? Gordon hasn't. I've got one and Gordon hasn't. Have you got one? Do you love it as much as I do? Please leave those. Did you not know it existed? You're going to rush out and get one like Gordon's going to have to now that I own this one. Leave those comments below and I will lovingly get back to all of them.